All righty, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. This is going to be a really good stream. Now, we're going to be talking about the Zhiyun Crane Plus. All right. I'm not going to show you the gimbal yet. I want some people to tune in first, and then we're going to show off the gimbal. This is a really cool gimbal. Let's wait for a few more people to show up here, and I will bring out the Zhiyun Crane Plus. All right. So yeah, let me go ahead and wait for a few more of you guys to tune in here. All right, how's everyone doing so far? Everyone's doing good? Yeah? All right. All right, cool. All right. Is that a new gimbal? Oh, yes, it is, good sir. Yes, it is. So let's have a few more people tune in, and we can get started. All right. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, and I have it in my bag here. We're going to go ahead and bring it out, and I'm going to show you exactly how this thing looks like. It's really impressive, I have to say. All right, so I keep it in my Think Tank photo bag. It comes with a hard shell case. All right, so first question that came in is, what's the payload on this? 5.5 pound payload. Also, in kilograms, it'll be 2.5 kilos. All right, so just to show you guys that this is indeed the Crane Plus, here is the back of the roll arm. All right, so there's a little bit of a lag on my end, so I don't see what the camera's seeing just yet. So that's the Crane Plus. All right, so you guys got a good shot of that. All right, it's the same exact form factor as the first generation of the Crane. All right, I gotta grab the batteries. Now, in this live stream, I'm not gonna go into every single little detail about this gimbal because I don't wanna spoil everything for you guys before I make my full official review. Because Zhiyun Tech still has to release some, they have to release some features on the application in order for me to explore every single feature of this gimbal. So as of right now, I can't go into all the specifics just yet because not all the features are available. Let me grab the tripod as well. It comes with a fantastic tripod, the same exact tripod that comes with the Crane 2. So you can see that right there. Fantastic. It also comes with grip tape. So I'll be showing that in the review video that I'll be that should come out within a week or two. Depending on when this product actually is up for sale. Okay, so we're just going to mount this there. Let me grab the batteries. My room is a mess because I'm packing for CES in Las Vegas tomorrow, so please excuse the mess. All right, always a mess. All right, batteries exactly the same as the Crane version 2. These are the batteries. Okay, so for those of you who are wondering, that's what it looks like. All right, those are the batteries. We're getting about 15 hours of battery life. Okay, so 15 hours of battery life. Very easy to mount. They made a slight improvement with the mounting system here, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. All right. And I'm going to show you one of the cool features, and that is the roll follow feature. And what this roll follow feature is, also known as POV mode, that's one of the main modes that Zhiyun Tech has been marketing to you guys, is the POV mode, because that's a very important mode. It allows you to change the horizon with the movement of your hand, so you don't have to rely on using the joystick the whole time. So you're going to get a lot better shots and a lot more accurate shots. So let's answer some questions here. AM Designs is asking, what is the difference between the Crane 2 and the Crane Plus? Mainly the difference is the payload, form factor, and LED screen. We have the payload on the Crane 2 being up to 7 pounds, while this one goes up to 5.5 pounds. The form factor on the Crane 2, it's larger, it's thicker, and it's a beefier setup, and the battery life is longer. We also have that LED screen. We can change motor parameters within the gimbal. The gimbal has its own little microcomputer inside, which allows us to change motor parameters right on the fly. This gimbal does not allow us to do that. So those are the main differences so far. We also have artificial intelligence built into this gimbal. Again, as I said earlier, Zhiyun Tech has not released all of the features for this gimbal just yet. So I can't go into every single detail. I need to wait for Zhiyun Tech to release those features. So far, the POV is fantastic. Let me grab my A9, and I'll show you guys how this thing works. Another improvement I see over the Crane version 2 is that they put a different knob here. This knob right here is very easily adjustable, and it's a lot easier to tighten up. Also, I feel like the sliding plate here is a lot smoother than on the first generation of the Crane. So I appreciate them. I don't know what they did. Maybe they greased it up better, but it's a lot smoother to move forward and backward compared to the older version of the Crane. Okay, let's answer some more questions here. They're coming in quite a bit. Will you be reviewing the new DJI Gimbal that was released yesterday? I don't know. Don't know. What are you using for live streaming? I'm using my MacBook Pro camera. What is your opinion regarding mechanical glide cams versus these electronic things? I made a video on this, so make sure you go to my channel and check that out. My Crane 2 came with pink grip tape. Hey, this one came with pink grip tape too. Pink is a manly color, guys. Rock out with that pink. Seriously, that's what I'm gonna do. I can't wait to put that pink grip tape on. Have you done any videos on the S-Log features on the a6300? Would love to watch what you have. I don't have the a6300. I have the Sony a7S and Sony a9. And by the way, guys, I just sold my Panasonic GH4. I'm glad to be rid of that thing. It was just a nightmare with autofocus, and I can't deal with it. Picture quality was spot on, but GH4, I had to get rid of it. I was just collecting dust. AM Design said that he got bright neon green. Green is my favorite color. You want to switch? Does the Plus have a quick release plate? No, the Plus does not have a quick release plate like the Crane 2. It has the same exact plate that came on the Crane version 2. So basically just a plate that moves from front to back. Okay, so yeah. Okay, let's grab my A9. Very easy to balance. It's a little bit easier than the Crane version 2 because of the way they, I think they slightly greased up that plate so it moves a lot easier forward and backward. It's not choppy like on the previous Crane. Also, the knobs here are a different color. They're like a pinkish golden color. On the previous Crane, they were silver. So I think they wanted to differentiate the models by using different colors here. They also got rid of the Chinese writing on the back, which I kind of miss. I love that Chinese writing. I kind of wish they didn't get rid of it because I don't know. I like Chinese writing, actually. It's really pretty to look at. So I'm kind of bummed that they got rid of that. But again, they wanted to differentiate the Crane. So this is one of the ways that they did it. Okay. Let's flip it around here. I don't know what you guys are seeing. Let me adjust the camera here. It's on my MacBook, so I'm going to try my best to get the whole Crane in there. All right, so here we go. All right. Guys, I'm not looking at the live chat right now. Actually, go to the live chat. Okay. Are you going to review the new FreeFly Movi cell phone gimbal? No, probably not. Does the Plus have an 8-volt camera power port? No, it does not. Not like the Crane 2. So you're starting to see the main differences between the Crane Plus and the Crane 2 now. The Crane Plus is definitely more for a prosumer market. Crane 2, I mean. And the Crane Plus is more for a consumer market, in my opinion. But the real benefit of the Crane Plus is that POV feature. I really love playing around with Dutch angles. So the POV feature for me is a really big deal. I don't know how it is with you guys, but for me, I love playing around with the horizon levels. So so just adjusting here. Very easy to balance. I have a little grip on my camera, so it makes it a little bit trickier. Okay. Move a little bit forward. Okay, that's set. So again, we have a 5.5 pound payload. So that's going to help us out. This has to be adjusted. Okay. I can still balance the Crane 2 faster than this one. The Crane 2 with the Manfrotto quick release plate, literally 45 seconds. This one takes me a little bit longer. Okay. Now we just got to worry about the roll arm. Okay. I gotta push this thing back. Do you think they'll add the POV mode to the Crane 2 in a firmware update? I honestly don't know, guys. I don't know. I hope they do. I love the POV feature. All right, so it looks like we're balanced. Yeah, okay. Controls, exactly the same as the Crane version 2. Exactly the same. We get cables this time for Panasonic and for Sony. And guess what? They work. They start and stop video, and they take picture. I tested it out. It works. No glitches there. All right, so here is our Crane, guys. Check it out. All right, let me show you the POV mode, because I know you guys are dying to see that. All right, so here's the POV mode. So to enter the POV mode, we're pressing the mode button once, a second time, and a third time. And that's going to unlock POV mode. See that? I kind of wish that they change that and make it a combination of presses. For example, I want them to make it maybe 4 presses to enter POV mode. I think that would be great. POV mode would be, to enter POV mode that way would be fantastic. So yeah, that's what I think. All right. POV mode. Very smooth, right? So with that function, you can do a lot of cool things, guys. A lot of cool things. So, and with the Crane Plus, we get that awesome rest area for your forefinger. So in case your hand does get tired, we have this nice little space here to put your forefinger. All right. Besides that, guys, like the design of the system is exactly the same. The form factor, exactly the same as the original version 2 Crane. Very, very similar in form factor and body, except this time we have that increased payload, We have a different chip inside, an AI chip that can help us out with motion time lapses, night lapses. We have that, again, we have that POV function. So yeah. Len, what's up, man? So Len pointed out that the knobs are not like on the Crane 2s. Yes, that is correct. The Crane 2 has different balancing knobs than on the Crane Plus. So that's another thing. They do that so you can differentiate the models. Otherwise, all the models can look similarly. So yeah. I mean, I never disliked the original balancing knobs. I never disliked them. I just prefer the ones on the Crane 2. These knobs are just, they're fine. But they did change the sliding plate knob on the bottom here. See that? It's a winged knob instead of what it used to be. It was a little different, I believe, in the last generation. I could be wrong. I don't even remember. I need to pull out the last generation, but I think it's different than the last generation of the Crane. If someone has their Crane out right now, let me know. I have it packed away in another bag, so it's going to be a little tough for me to get to it. Let's answer some questions here, okay? Again, guys, I'm not going to get into every single specific thing here because I don't want to spoil a lot of things for you guys on this gimbal. So let me turn it around so you can see the side here, a little different here with the markings, and we have Crane Plus written right there. Okay. All right. Let's see if we have any questions here. Chris says, I use the tripod of the Crane 2 as a grip with the 4-finger rest so that I can free my grip on the handle to use the knobs. Very good. Yeah, cool. Main difference between the Crane 2 and the Crane Plus. Main difference, 3 main differences, guys. Form factor. Crane 2 is a beefier setup, thicker handle, more powerful motors, and that LED display. Those are the major differences. That's the advantages of the Crane Plus. The Crane 2, excuse me. With the Crane Plus, you are getting a 5.5-pound payload, and you're getting artificial intelligent features. And again, I cannot go over those features with you right now because they haven't been released by Zhiyun Tech. So I'm waiting for them to release those features. I don't have a release date on when this gimbal will be available. I do not have a release date just yet. So yeah. Yeah. I will be at CES in Las Vegas with the Crane Plus. So if you want to stop by and say hello, please do. Please do. This is my new travel gimbal, by the way. Payload is a really big deal for me. Very big deal. So instead of taking my Crane V2, I'm going to be taking my Crane Plus. I need that extra payload because sometimes I mount on a large Rokinon 14mm lens with a Sony adapter, and with the V2 it kind of struggles with that lens because it's so heavy. With this thing, handles it very easily. So this is, I mean, it breaks down exactly the same as the Crane version 2, exactly the same. Hang on, I think this actually has the added power down feature. Let me check. Let me see, guys. I want to see if they added a power down feature on this gimbal. No, they didn't. So on the Crane 2, we have this feature where the motors will slowly power off. That way it avoids the camera from slamming down into something if it's not properly balanced. Apparently the Crane Plus does not have that feature. So you can see, you're starting to get an idea of the advantages and disadvantages of the Crane Plus and the Crane 2. Who do I think the Crane Plus is for? I think the Crane Plus is for those of you who travel nonstop, like literally get on a plane every other week or every month for that matter, and just travel. This is probably the better gimbal for you. However, for me, the Crane 2 is just exceptional because again, that payload is important for me. That LED display allows me to see everything that's happening with the gimbal. I can see the shooting modes. I can see Bluetooth status. I can see the current battery status. So for me, that LED display kind of spoiled me. And going back to a gimbal that doesn't have that LED display is a little bit disappointing. But again, if you don't own the Crane 2 and you're deciding whether or not to get the Crane 2 or the Crane Plus, I mean, you got to look at your shooting styles. You got to look at what kind of work you're doing and decide. And you also got to look at what camera you're shooting with. I mean, you can even go with the Crane version 2. It all depends. First, you got to think about the payload. That's the #1 thing you got to look at when buying a gimbal. You got to decide what is the proper payload for you. Okay? Len, we did not do an unboxing. That I'm saving for the official review video. So that will be coming out soon. Hi from Dominican Republic. What's up? Jaris, he noticed me, laugh out loud. Love your videos, man. Keep them coming. Thank you. Blake is asking, same mounting as the V2. Yes, exactly the same. The Crane 2 is a beast. It really can hold some heavy weight. I put my A7R3 battery grip Sony G Sony G 18-110 Cine lens, and that's a big lens, and it rocked it well. I was really impressed. Awesome. My Crane 2 handles my Canon 5D Mark IV with the Canon's 24-70 L lens 2.8. I travel nonstop. The Crane 2 does add bulk, but I still like it. How much heavier is the Crane Plus? Compared to the original version 2, it's not any heavier. It's exactly the same weight as the Crane version 2. Obviously, we have that beefy tripod, so that's going to add a little bit of weight, but you can't really tell much of a difference. One thing I like about the Crane gimbals, guys, is here's the one thing you got to look at. Guys, I've been through 10 different gimbals. I've reviewed 10 different gimbals, okay? And I've had instances with gimbals where the bearings were not smooth. And so the motors would have to overpower those cheap bearings. With the Crane 2, if you or Crane Plus or Crane version 2 or Crane version 1, if you were to, take off the camera and just play around with the arms and just see how freely it spins, that tells you a lot. That tells you that the quality bearings are being used on this gimbal. Bearings are everything, guys. It's not just about the motors. It's about the actual bearings that help out with the smooth rotation. If you don't have good quality bearings on the system, it's not a good gimbal. And I feel like this thing will spin so long. These are excellent bearings, guys. They're extremely sensitive. So that's the #1 thing. Like when it comes down to the mechanics of a gimbal, quality of the bearings is #1. Then you look at the motors. Okay, if you have bad bearings, it doesn't matter how powerful or how good the motors are, you're gonna have choppy footage. Bearings, that's the first thing you gotta look at. And I came from a glide cam background, manual steady cam background. So quality bearings was all those glide cams were depending on. And now with our new electronic steady cams like this one here, still we're reliant on good quality bearings. Okay, so that's the mechanics part of it. I just want you guys to know that. When you're buying a new gimbal, I strongly suggest before you buy it, you test it out. You gotta test it out. Especially if you're new to gimbals, you gotta play around with the system, you gotta mess around. Again, mess around with the gimbals. Bring your own camera to the store or wherever you're buying it from. Ask the manager if you can put your own camera on there and just play around with the gimbal. They should have like a display version on there and play around with it, okay? I can tell you right now, all of the Zhiyun Crane gimbals that I've owned, the gimbals, they spin flawlessly. No choppiness, no noise, and that's extremely important. The quality bearings that they use here make this gimbal fantastic, okay? It has, I would say, about 60% of the smoothness that comes out of this gimbal has to do with the bearings, okay? Whew. All right, I got that off my chest. Hi from India. I just love your work, sir. Thank you so much. Crane 2 versus Zhiyun Plus. Which one? Dude, it's up to you which one, man. Does payload matter to you? I mean, that's the first question I would ask. John is asking Crane 2 versus Crane Plus versus DJI Ronin S. What do you think of the new coming DJI Ronin S? I don't know yet. I will be at CES in Vegas, so I'm probably going to check everything out. Yeah. Guys, what do you think? What do you think about the Crane Plus? So far, I love it. I love it for two main reasons so far why I love the Crane Plus. Payload. That's number one. Okay, 2 is the POV mode. So far, I love that POV mode, and I'm going to be using it a lot. But yeah, guys, what do you think? Do you have any more specific questions you would like to ask me? Again, as I said earlier in the video, Zhiyun did not release all of the capabilities of this gimbal yet. So I'm waiting for Zhiyun to do that. I didn't test out the smart tracking system yet. I will be doing that later this week. You can count on it. I'm saving a lot of the juicy details for my official review video, guys. So I'm not covering all the features in this video. I need to wait until this product hits the market. It is not on the market currently. Okay. I literally just received this gimbal today, by the way. It came in earlier today. But it's gorgeous. I just I love it. When it's kind of weird. Whenever I look at a gimbal or a drone or something like that, I actually look at it from like an artistic point of view, like the architecture behind it, because that's really important. You don't want to be walking around an event or shooting an event with something that looks bulky and just it doesn't look professional. When gimbals first came out, guys, we had wires sticking out of everywhere. It just looked like crap. Gimbals used to look like crap. Now, if you look at a gimbal like this one here, you don't see any cables, you don't see any wires, nothing is sticking out. Everything is, elegant. And that's another thing. You gotta take a look at the actual aesthetics of this piece of equipment. Aesthetics are very important because you gotta be sleek, you gotta be sexy, and you gotta be very stealthy. And with these types of gimbals, you are going to be achieving all of that. So keep that in mind. All right. Have you ever tried to mount your Mavic Pro in a gimbal? No, I have not. Interesting question. Chris says, I think the Crane Plus is good for Micro Four Thirds. The Crane 2 may require you to add weights to balance it. Hello, can you explain what is the POV mode and give us an example for shot? Okay, so for those of you who are just tuning in, we're going to cover the POV mode again. POV mode, I don't know if you guys watched my tutorial on the Dutch angle, but POV mode is basically allowing us to manipulate the horizon, to change the horizon. So basically, I'm going to go into POV mode. Nope, it's not POV mode. Okay. All right, here we go. Here's POV mode. See, as I move, the camera moves with me. See that? I can change the horizon. I don't have to use the joystick anymore. Okay, this is a feature I've been waiting for a long time. For a very long time. I love this feature. I really do wish it was on the Crane too. So yeah. So that's POV mode. I will demo it for you. I definitely will demo it for you. You can actually take a look at some of my Crane 2 test footage. I show you some great POV style shots, but I use the joystick. I don't use my hand movements. What's the maximum weight this crane can hold? 5.5 pounds or 2.5 kilos? Chris, hey Josh, thanks for sharing your knowledge with the community. Please don't stop. You got it, Chris. I ain't stopping. As long as this heart is pumping, I ain't stopping. All right. Chris says, Durbridge says, I have a heavy Panasonic GX85 and it weighs too light. With my half case, it is just barely heavy enough. Can you elaborate on that? Alkesh says, can I ask for crane 2? What does that mean? You want a free crane 2? Is that what you're asking? Oh, guys. All right. Any more questions, guys, on Crane Plus? If you are at CES in Las Vegas, I will be there with the Crane Plus. I will be demoing it at the booth. So don't be scared. Stop by, say hello. I'll be there. Okay. Madi says, so there's a difference between the POV and normal Dutch angle, which can be shot on the old V2. Yes. The main difference between the old V2 gimbal and the new Crane Plus is with the POV mode, you don't have to mess around with the joystick. You can just move the gimbal, literally just move the gimbal, and the gimbal will literally move with you. So that's the main difference between the V2 and the Crane Plus. It doesn't have that feature on the V2. Martin says, thanks for your videos from Europe. Awesome, Martin. Thank you. Manny says, wow, it can hold 5.5 pounds. What's the price range? Guys, no price has been released yet. No price. Maybe at CES I'll find out the price for you. I need to talk to the representatives there. No price has been released. Wish I was there, but alas, home is where the Crane 2 is. Is it easy to manual focus on any of the Zhiyun cranes? I want to try the video capabilities of my Hasselblad X1D. Ooh, John with the Hasselblad. You know DJI owns Hasselblad now? Did you know that? They own them. That's a great camera. Very good camera. Is it easy to manual focus on any of these cranes? So I made a video with Jason Vong. Check it out on my channel. I talk about manually focusing. So go ahead and check it out and tell me what you think. Madi's asking, so now which is better, Crane 2 or Crane Plus? Guys, it depends on you. I'm telling you, the features on the Crane Plus are different from the features on the Crane 2 and vice versa. It depends on your shooting style, what kind of camera you're shooting on, what kind of lens. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different things to look at when buying a gimbal. Part of why I think Zhiyun is releasing so many different gimbals is because there's so many different cameras and lens combinations. So you have to, you know, there's now a gimbal for every type of person now. Zhiyun makes a gimbal for every, except for cinema cameras. I hope they get into cinema camera gimbals. I'm praying that Zhiyun makes a gimbal for a RED camera, for the Terra 4K. I want a gimbal for that. Please, Zhiyun, make a gimbal for the prosumer market, for the professional market, please. I want to be able to fly a RED camera on one of your gimbals. So please do that in the future. I think they officially dominated the consumer and most of the prosumer market with these gimbals. They have a gimbal for up to 7 pounds, up to 5.5 pounds, and up to 4 pounds, and up to 2 pounds. They have gimbals for smartphones. They have gimbals for GoPros. I mean, they covered the consumer market, most of the prosumer market. Now I think it's time for them to enter the professional market and really like design a gimbal that can hold up to a 20-pound, 30-pound setup. That is my dream with them. Yeah, it's my dream. Michael says, Jason is so cool and you guys did a great video. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that, bro. Blake says on B&H they have listed for $569. Ooh, let's take a look at B&H photo. Very nice. Let's see. I checked yesterday. It wasn't on their site. Crane Plus, $569. Look at that. Look at that. Thank you for letting me know. I did not know that. So 569. Ideally, guys, I'll be honest with you. I think this is a replacement for the Crane V2. Do not quote me on that. Do not quote me on that. But I think that this is a replacement for the Crane V2. In my opinion, I feel like that's where this is going. It has better specs than the Crane V2. It has the same exact form factor. It looks almost identical except for these different markings here. I do think that we have a replacement here. Okay, so keep that in mind, guys. Yeah, yeah. Len is asking, how much out of balance can a gimbal handle? I mean, does it have to be exactly balanced? No, Len, a gimbal does not have to be exactly balanced, but don't forget, if it's not exactly balanced, you're going to get much lower battery life. People are telling me over and over again, and it's very irritating, and I'll be honest with you guys, people keep telling me that if you don't properly balance a gimbal, it's going to burn out your motors. That's not true. Okay, these gimbals have a failsafe built in. If one motor has too much pressure put on it, it's going to shut off. I've tested this with all of the Zhiyun Tech gimbals. There's fail-safes built into the motors. If they have too much pressure on them, they will just shut off. Okay? So if you're telling me that a motor can be too stressed, that's not possible. The motor will shut off. Are there times when the motors can get a little warm? Yes, but does that mean that the motor is dying? No, it doesn't. It means that the motors are working. They probably have a heavy payload or it's not properly balanced, but that does not mean that you're frying the actual motor. The motor will shut off, okay? You cannot burn out these motors. The only reason why a motor would burn out is probably of a manufacturer defect. Okay, that's the only reason. Or if you shoot in the rain and water gets in, it can short circuit the gimbal. But when you're talking about motors just burning out, that doesn't really happen. It doesn't. These are brushless motors, guys. Brushless motors live a very, very long time. And the thing about electronics is, I'm a geek. I'm a really big electronics geek. But the thing about electronics, if there's a manufacturer defect, odds are like a 95% chance that the electronics that you're using will fail very early on in its life. So if there's a manufacturer defect, it's going to die very quickly. So don't worry about it. If it's been with you for a couple months and you're using it regularly and it hasn't died on you, don't expect it to die anytime soon. That usually doesn't happen. Of course, there are rare occasions when it does happen, but for most of the electronics that are produced, if there's a manufacturer defect, it will usually happen early on in its lifetime. Okay. Yes, we have a confirmed price of $569 on B&H Photo. All right. Okay, so yeah, confirmed price $569. Thank you for letting me know about that. Very exciting. Okay. Yeah. So we talked about most of the specs or product highlights that B&H listed. We talked about up to 5.5 pound payload. We talked about the POV mode. We didn't talk about object tracking. Again, I haven't tested that feature out yet. We haven't tested out night lapse yet. Control cables we talked about. Dutch tilt and POV mode we talked about. Aluminum mini tripod we talked about. ZY Play app we didn't talk about, but we did talk about battery life, which is exactly the same as on the Crane version 2. So 12 to 15 hour battery life. Crane 2 gets up to 18 hours of battery life, but again, we're getting bigger batteries on the Crane 2. We have 3 of those big 18650 batteries. Manny says, does it have time-lapse mode and a mini screen on it? It does have time-lapse mode, but it does not have a mini screen on it. Len says, correct me if I'm wrong, but the versions are M, version 1.1, version 2, 2, and then now the plus. Yes, you are correct. I think it's just a version 1, not the version 1.1. I think. Manny, how long is the battery life? 12 to 15 hours. Deepak is saying, nice to see you live. Nice to see you live too, bro. Yeah. Any more questions, guys? Any more questions? It's great to see a lot of you guys watching and learning and thinking about what to get, as in what gimbal to get. So it's great to see you guys here. Any last minute questions, guys, before we log off? Again, I'm going to be going into the juicy, juicy details with this gimbal on my review video. Again, I'm waiting for this gimbal to hit the market. Okay. Apparently, B&H just got all the specs and got all of the pricing information, so it shouldn't be long now. Maybe about a week or 2 weeks, it should be on the market. So don't worry about that. And that's perfect timing because that's when I plan to release the review video for this. Ton of features on this gimbal, more features than I suspect on any other gimbal that I currently have. Michael, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. Thank you, bro. Michael, you're the man. Shout out to Michael. Alex Lopez, what's up, dude? Miss you, brother. Hope you're enjoying yourself this break. Alex, dude. Are you going in for another semester? Alex Lopez is, I go to school with him. Len is asking, should the camera IS be on while using it with the gimbal? In my opinion, honestly, with the Sony Alphas, I think, yeah, why not? I can get smooth images regardless if it's on or off. Alex, I'm going to see you in a few weeks then, bro, when school starts. Boom, we're going to be talking about gimbals, bro. We're going to be talking about gimbals. Manny says, nice shirt. Fuel, awesome. Yeah, man, Fuel. It's a picture of like a Viper. Yeah. Alex says, see you soon, my man. See you soon too, bro. Guys, there's a few of you logged on. There's no way you're on the stream just to look at my pretty face. Ask me questions, guys. Ask me questions. That's why I'm here. Ask me questions about this thing. All right, let's turn it on. All right, let's turn it on. I know what you guys came here to see. Jack says, hey, bro, love your channel. Congrats. This gimbal doesn't convince me. All right, what is it supposed to do to convince you? What gimbal do you currently have, though? Tell me right now. What gimbal do you currently have? Let's go into POV mode. I kind of don't like the fact that I have to press the mode button, pause twice, pause, and then the third time. I kind of wish they did it so I can just press the mode button 4 times instantly, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll go into POV mode. Because now I don't really know what mode it's in. Okay, we're in lock mode now. Now we're in POV mode. So here we go. That's the POV mode. 45 degrees is just enough to get me the shot that I want with that Dutch angle. It doesn't go past 45 degrees. All right, just so you guys know, it doesn't go past 45 degrees. But honestly, this is all you really need. You don't need any more than 45 degrees, in my opinion. All right, so that's the POV mode. And as I stated earlier, the Sony start and stop recording works flawlessly. With the attached control cable, works flawlessly. It starts and stops. So thank you, Zhiyun Tech, for implementing that properly. No issues with the Sony camera regarding that. All right. John says, I know you're a Zhiyun guy, but do you plan to test the new Moswa Aircross? As of right now, I don't plan on testing it. Not currently. John says, Sony a6500, what are the best settings for real estate? Bro, that's off topic, man. That's a whole other video. There's so many things going into real estate. Len says, I can just imagine that combo. Hey, bro, how's the gimbals doing? Jack says, like the Crane 2, however, I am unsure between the Crane 2 and the upcoming Ronin S. However, I believe the Ronin S will cost much more. Okay, let's talk about the Ronin S, all right? Let's talk a little bit about the marketing tactics of DJI. Because I've done a lot of marketing in my day. One of my first jobs was working for a dating agency, and I was in charge of marketing and newsletters. So I'll tell you what's going on with this whole product release. So DJI has the DJI Ronin, the Ronin M, the Ronin 2, and now the new Ronin S. Let's compare the Ronin S and the Ronin M. The Ronin M has a payload of up to 8 pounds. Now, this is my prediction. I'm thinking that the Ronin S is going to have a much smaller payload than 8 pounds. Because if the Ronin S had the same payload as the Ronin M, no one would buy the Ronin M anymore. It would make the Ronin M obsolete. So that's my thinking. All right, so I think the payload's at least going to be a pound less than the Ronin M. All right, regarding price, I have no idea. But regarding payload, that's my thinking on it. I don't think DJI would release another gimbal that's smaller and that's more user-friendly than the Ronin M and have it be the same payload capacity. It just doesn't make sense. No one would buy the Ronin M anymore. And the Ronin M is one of their best-selling gimbals. So, yeah. I don't think DJI would do that. But the Ronin S does not have an LED display like the Crane 2 does. I think that's a really big, like, that LED display, guys. Beautiful. I love it on the Crane 2. Does the zoom function work? Yes, it does. Zoom function works on this with the camera control cable attached. Jack says, I have the Crane 2, so I prefer the payload. However, Nikon cam, no follow focus. Wonder if there will be a follow focus on the Ronin S. Guys, listen. There will be a follow focus system for the Zhiyun Crane 2. You have to be patient. They're designing it. They're creating it. They're testing it. It's coming. It's coming, okay? Don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. It's coming. They already released pictures. They released, they didn't release specs on it, but they released pictures. So I know it's there, it's real, they're testing it right now, okay? Follow focus systems are very expensive and very tough to actually develop. Yeah, they are expensive, but they're worth it. They're worth it, especially if you're using cine lenses. A follow focus system is worth it. They're very expensive to manufacture because they have to be extremely accurate. You know, you can definitely tell a difference between a slightly soft picture and a sharp picture. And if you don't develop a follow focus system that's to the T, that accurate, like 0.01 meters or 0.01 feet, you know, there's a difference there. There is a very, very big difference there between soft and sharp picture. So it does take a lot of time to develop. So you guys got to be a little bit patient. I know you don't want to hear that, but it's true. Zhiyun Tech is a new company. They're not an old company. They've been around for only a few years. They're overwhelmed. They're selling a ton of gimbals, a ton of accessories. So you got to give them a chance to develop this equipment. And they're getting better and better and better each year. So you got to give them some time to develop this follow focus system because a lot goes into the design. Trust me. Yeah. Can you attach it to a handle? Yes, the same handle for the V2 is compatible with this one. Same exact handle. It's the same form factor, so the handle is going to fit right on. Can't decide. Blackmagic Micro, Speed Booster Sigma 18 to 35, one little remote, Crane 2, or maybe Crane Plus. I haven't looked at the Blackmagic Micro, but I used Blackmagic once, and I didn't really like it. I didn't really like it. I don't like touch screens on cameras. I feel like it really limits me, and I feel like it can glitch and just irritate me. I like buttons. Oh, my voice cracked. I like buttons a lot more. Do you think DJI will release a handle to attach the Zhiyun X5S or X7? Guys, I am not. Besides the drone stuff, I'm not really following DJI on their Ronin S. Again, I'm going to be at CES, so I'll get all the necessary details from CES. I've got the Crane 2. I use the GH5. Can I safely remove the wheel? Derek, that's a very good question, Derek. The answer is yes, you can. But Derek, can you give me a week to create a video on how to do that? Give me a week and I'll show you a step-by-step process on how to properly remove the focus wheel, because it's possible. You can definitely do it. If you're not handy, I don't know if you're handy or not, but if you're not handy with tools or removing things and rebuilding stuff, don't do it. Let me make the video for you. Honestly, it looks pretty simple to do, but you can definitely scratch things up and mess it up. So let me be the one. Let me be the test subject to do that for you. I'll show you a step-by-step process on how to remove the focus wheel. Jack says, all right, I freaking love you, man. Thanks for your stream. Jack, peace out, brother. Thank you. Michael says, DJI Ronin versus the Mobi 10. Have you used both of them? And if so, which one did you like more? I did not use the Mobi 10. I did not use the Mobi 10. And I didn't use the DJI Ronin. I used the Game TV Argo, which is basically a replica of the DJI Ronin. But yeah, I might be able to do a live stream at CES. Well, I have a buddy going with me. Maybe he can help me out filming the live stream. But yeah, guys, make sure you have notifications turned on for the rest of this week at least. Hopefully you always have notifications turned on. But this week is a very important week to have notifications turned on, because I'm going to be releasing a ton of content. First of all, I'm going to be releasing test footage on the Crane Plus. Okay, that's the number 1 thing. Number 2, I'm going to be talking to all of Zhiyun Tech's staff that's going to be at CES. All right, I'm going to be talking to them. I'm going to, hopefully, if I have good internet connection, I'm going to go live. And we can ask questions to the Zhiyun Tech staff right then and there. Okay, you don't have to hear it out of my mouth. You can hear it out of Zhiyun Tech's mouth, okay? So you'll know it's legit. And you can ask them any questions you want through that live stream. All right, so I want you guys to make very smart investments with your film equipment, okay? No need to waste money here. I want every cent to work as hard as possible for you. Why? Because I want a filmmaking community based off of support and not just off of greed. Because that's not how I was raised. So we need to build this community together. I want you guys to make a very, very smart decision when you're spending your hard-earned cash, all right? No need to waste any money here. Len says, do not void your warranty if you're going to remove things. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. But I'm not sure if it'll void your warranty because it's not an internal wheel. It's honestly all it is. It's a screw. You remove the screw, the wheel comes off. Yeah, so Derek, contact Zhiyun Tech first. I'll be doing it regardless on the Crane 2 because I feel like a lot of people don't use the focus wheel. So I'll be doing a video on how to remove the wheel, but safely, okay? But yeah. Safe House Studio says, I own both the Ronin and Movi Pro, and it's the Movi hands down for me. Safe House says Movi is a hands down. All right, awesome. Derek says, I am not worried about the warranty. All right, Derek, you got it, brother. So if you give me about 10 days, I'll release a focus wheel detachment video, okay? Because I know a lot of people don't use the focus wheel, and it can bother a lot of people because it's a large wheel, so it can get in the way of you holding the gimbal properly. So I can see why you would want to remove it. Yeah, definitely. I'm counting on you. You got it, bro. You got it. So guys, as I said earlier, you need to have notifications turned on. Tomorrow, I'll be arriving at CES by about 2 or 3 p.m. Hopefully, I have good cell phone reception. I will be live streaming a lot of the stuff there, okay? I'm going to be filming with the Crane Plus. I'm going to be doing a lot of filming. All right? So make sure you got them notifications turned on. All right? Michael says, I'm with you. I only hope that Zhiyun Tech comes out with the Pro Cine gimbal because I would buy it for sure. Yes, I really want Zhiyun Tech to enter the pro market. Seriously, I really want them to do it. They used to have a gimbal called the Shining. Okay, I dug deep into Zhiyun Tech and their history. So they used to have a gimbal called the Shining, and it was a Ronin M competitor from DJI. I don't know why they pulled it off the market. It looked like a great gimbal. It had all the features that any pro gimbal would have. I think they had some issues with the firmware or something like that. I didn't really understand why they pulled it off the market. Maybe they're redesigning it and will eventually release it, but I have no details on that, guys, unfortunately. I want them to release a pro gimbal. You have no idea how much I want them to do that, guys. Even though I don't have a Red or a Terra 4K or an Alexa Mini or something like that, I will rent a camera to just test out that gimbal, because I come from a background, I love large gimbals, okay? I'm still adjusting myself to smaller gimbals like this. That's why I usually use the dual handle grip, because I like the larger side of things. So I want them to do it. And yeah, hopefully with my connects, I can help pressure them to design a Pro Cine gimbal, because that would be my dream. I would love for them to do that. Okay, next question is, hey Josh, is the weight difference between the V2 and the Plus the same? If not, is the Plus significantly heavier? It's exactly the same. The only difference is when you attach the tripod that it comes with, it might be a little bit heavier, but the frame is exactly the same. You're not going to notice a difference in weight. I really wish I could start a poll in the live chat. I don't think I can, unfortunately, but guys, I want you to write in the comment section below what you think about the Crane Plus so far, okay? And I also want you to write in the comment section what do you want to see changed in any of the Crane gimbals, okay? This is very important because I do have very good relations with Zhiyun Tech, and they are always looking for suggestions. So if you have any specific issues, I want you to write them down in the comment section right now. What do you want to see more out of the Crane gimbals? This is important for them. They want to keep you as their customer, so they're going to do everything they can to help improve the gimbals. So if you have any issues with your gimbal, put it down in the comment section right now, and I'll do my best to get the word over to Zhiyun Tech. Okay? Derek says, I like the new gimbal because there's no wheel. Maybe add the screen in the same weight capacity. Yeah, you know what? It's hard to go to the Crane Plus after having the Crane 2 because I love that screen. But then again, the screen does take up a little bit of real estate on the gimbal. So, I mean, if you look at the Crane Plus, there's really no space for an LED screen. I mean, there's no space for it. So, yeah, I wouldn't see. This is a very travel-friendly gimbal. It splits in half, and you can put it in any camera bag. So it's very travel-friendly. I don't see where they would be able to fit a screen. Right? Don't forget, on the Crane 2, we have that screen. We have a joystick. We have a dial. I mean, they put a ton of buttons on there. So they had the real estate to do that. On the Crane Plus, they're a little bit more limited. Does it feel as good as a Crane 2 or more like the Crane V1, V2? It's exactly the same as the V1 and V2. Exactly the same, like the feel. Honestly, guys, Crane 2 is still my favorite gimbal, simply because of that payload. I love the weight. I love how much thicker it is. A lot of people don't like the fact that the Crane 2 is bulkier, but I like it. I personally like it. Yes, I can't travel with it as much as I can with the Crane Plus, but I like holding the Crane with the thicker handle because it just I have a very expensive camera on there, and I feel more confident holding that gimbal because it's thicker. And whenever I can, I use the dual handle system. Uh, it's better for my back. It's better for my stability of the shots, and I overall like it a lot more. Jack says, my advice to Zhiyun is to stop coming out with new models every 2 months. It is a little bit frustrating for us consumers. You buy the V2, then the 2 comes out, then the Plus are, yeah. Okay. I think I know why they're coming out with all these models, guys. If you look at the competition of gimbals in the market, you have so many different companies coming out with different gimbals. Zhiyun is trying to push out as many different gimbals as they can in order to compete with the competitors. They're doing it right. They're doing it right. They're not only trying to compete, but also trying to give the consumer the needs that they've wanted. They've wanted a travel-friendly gimbal that can hold a heavier payload, Crane Plus. Okay. They wanted a gimbal that can hold a much heavier payload, Crane 2. Okay, and people wanted a gimbal that can hold a lighter payload, and that's the Crane M. So they're releasing all of these different models rather than just releasing one model that can support all of those payloads. They want consumers to buy a gimbal that can fit each of their needs. Okay, so it's important to not fit all of the features of the payload and all this into one gimbal. Form factor is a big key. So they're trying to make sure that it's a little difficult to explain, but instead of having one gimbal for everything, many different gimbals for different things. Like the Crane 2, for example, I love the fact that it's bigger. I miss the fact that it's bigger, that it's smaller on the Crane Plus. I like that thickness of the handle, okay? I would have been very disappointed if the Crane 2 had a 5.5-pound payload because it's a much bigger gimbal. I would expect it to hold a lot more weight. So that's why they made it up to 7 pounds. So people have different needs, and what Zhiyun is trying to do is fill those needs with different products. So I can see why. DJI is doing the same exact thing. Look at how many Phantoms they released. Phantom Pro, Phantom Advanced, Phantom regular Phantom. Like DJI did the same exact thing. It also has to do with price. They released these gimbals, multiple gimbals, also because of price points. They want each of their gimbals, they want their gimbals to fit a specific price point for the average consumer. They want a consumer, prosumer, and a professional price point. So that's why they have multiple gimbals. That's actually probably one of the main reasons why they have so many different products. So keep that in mind. So I hope that made sense. I know I kind of blabbered on that because so many thoughts were just going through my head. But yeah, it makes sense. I want to see them fix or make the Crane 2 follow focus work with Sony cameras. Do you know if that's going to happen? So Michael, I don't know if you tuned in earlier, but we talked about them releasing a follow focus module that's actually going to mount onto the hot shoe mount of the camera. That's coming. They're working on it. So all we have to do is just be a little bit patient. They're working hard. A lot of design goes into the follow focus system. So let them come out with that. Sebastian says, can't wait for a review of the tracking feature. This could be a game changer for a lot of travel and sport video. Yes, especially if you like to vlog a lot, tracking is very important. You want the gimbal to be able to just track you, and this gimbal can be your cameraman. All right? All they're missing from these gimbals is to have it levitate and just follow you around. That's probably out of our lifetime. But if they come out with a gimbal that could just levitate and just follow you silently, that would be great. But I know that's out of our lifetime, probably not for the next 100 years. They'll come out with something like that, but hopefully they will. A gimbal that can levitate and follow you. That's my dream. Len says different users have different needs. Why buy a limousine when a utility will do the job? Len, I couldn't have said it better than you right there. That's a good analogy. They are matching other companies too. Yes, Derek, definitely. The new Ronin S is supposed to support follow focus with Panasonic, which is why the Crane 2 won't happen. What do you mean the Crane 2 won't happen? Zhiyun has the same mentality as Sony. Technology, keep their name hot, drown the competition. My Crane update tool does not recognize my MacBook Pro when updating the firmware. What should I do without finding someone with a PC? Zhiyun Text hasn't responded to my email for help. Have you tried different USB ports? Have you tried different USB cables? Try that out and make sure that after you downloaded the driver, which I hope you did, that's the most crucial part, is that you restart, turn off the computer, and turn it back on. Okay, that's another important. So I hope that fixes your problem. Does the Crane Plus have the ability to power Sony cameras like the Crane 2? No, it does not. Unfortunately, it does not. That was another thing that the Crane 2 has that's more advanced than the Crane Plus, and that is the ability to power Sony cameras, or any camera for that matter, like Panasonic. So, yeah, the Crane Plus does not power Sony cameras. It does not, unfortunately. But it controls them. Zoom function, record function, and photo taking function. So it does support those features. Any more questions, guys? Very good live stream. All right. So again, guys, before I log off, I want you to know that I'll be at CES this week, which is the largest tech event of the year. Everything technology-wise will be at this event. So I want to make sure that you guys have your notifications turned on so that whenever I do a live stream off of my phone, you will get notified, especially with Zhiyun Tech, because I'll be visiting the booth. All right? And we're going to be talking to their representatives there. All right? So, yeah. And all right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned more about the Crane Plus. I did leave out a lot of juicy details that I will cover in my full review video, so stay tuned for that. As soon as the product is available to the public, I think that's when my review video will also be released. So that way, as soon as you watch the video and you like what you see, you can easily just buy the Crane through the video without having to click off and wait for the product to be released. So I'm trying to be as strategic as possible. That way you guys can easily buy the gimbal without having to wait after I release the video. All right. Michael is asking, where is CES this year? It is in Vegas. It's in Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, notifications, make sure they're turned on. And I will talk to you very soon. Momentum Productions out.